Last week we created a wave which had one movement, and I want to just go over that again because I want to make sure that you kind of feel that you understand that completely. So you have one movement here, you have a line that intersects itself coming back. So last week I showed how you can create this same form essentially, which is open in either end with two different lines, one running from the bottom and then through the dots, and one then going from the top, and so they're intersecting each other, basically both drawn from the left to the right. But this week I want to show you and just make sure that you know that actually drawing this line with one movement, you know, so you're looping at the end and then coming back, you have the one movement, and that's a twofold aspect to that one movement. You have the forward motion and then the return motion. So although it's one movement, there's really two sort of aspects to that movement and two kind of different feelings, if you like. Try and see if you can sense the difference between going forward without having any kind of resistance, I guess, and then when you're coming back, there is a sort of, if not resistance, then certainly a crossing as you're meeting the line on your way back. You're meeting yourself on the way back, essentially. So I just wanted to point that out. The next thing I want to show you is a variation on last week's rhythms by creating this week a double woven ribbon. And I'm going to do that today with a red pencil. We're going to start off, I'm hoping that maybe you'll be able to see this clearly, and I'm going to use the pencil just because I'll be able to see the dots. So I'm going to start off by also creating a rhythm here. So we start off kind of close to our first dot, and then I'm creating a larger wave close to my third dot, larger wave close to my fifth dot, larger wave, and close to my seventh dot. And then I'm turning, looping, coming back, big wave, close to my dot, big wave, close to my dot, big wave, and then close to my dot and meeting my line where I started it. So here you can see a rhythm. If you haven't seen last week's exercise, I recommend you go and just have a look at that. The next thing then to do, I want to show you, is we create a double ribbon here. So I start off a bit further out. Here you can probably guess what's going to happen. Large wave, coming close to my dot, large wave, close to my dot, large wave, close to my dot, and a large wave which loops and comes back, close to my dot, large wave, close to my dot, large wave, going close to my dot, and a large wave. So here you have basically a double woven ribbon. That's another variation you can play with, and obviously you can play with how large these waves are and how close they go to the dots and all kinds of things. So that's a variation from last week's. The next thing I want to show you, the next exercise, is how we can essentially, we're going back to the single line and the one movement. But what we want to do is we want to get the ribbon put in motion. So what I've done here is I've essentially pre-drawn some dots. I'll just draw them up a bit more so you can see them more easily. And what we want to do is we're putting the ribbon into motion here. I hope you can see that. So let's start. We're starting at the bottom, and then we're just moving through our ribbon nice and easy. And make sure when you're doing your ribbon that you want to try and put your dots at an even spacing. And then you're going back, intersecting, and meeting your line where you started it. Here, the ribbon's got moving. And you can take it even further. I've got another few dots just drawn up here. And I'll just make them even darker so that you can see them. Here I'm sort of putting my ribbon into almost into a spiraling motion. So here again, I'm starting at at the top, obviously, is where I'm putting my pencil, but really it's at the bottom. So, you know, I'm going underneath. I'm just going on the side of it. I could go the other way. I'm just going to go this way. So in between my dots, underneath and back. Oh, I can't really see my dot here. This is why having a long pencil is a good idea. So I'm going underneath and then round and then up and over and round, and I'll just try and see what I'm doing here. Over, round, and here I'm looping. I'm now coming back and catching. The aim here is almost like a little bit of a game actually, is to catch all of your dots, but doing it in a nice flowing motion, which obviously it isn't here. And the problem is, as I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos, if you've got, you know, your pencil in your hand like this, then your hand kind of gets in the way. So, you know, make sure when you're doing this that you've got, if you're using a pencil or something like a color pencil, that you're holding it up high, because that way you can actually see your dots and where you're aiming for. But always, you know, just know that you can go over your line and adjust it as you need to. So that's the exercise for this week. I'll be back next week with more foam drawing exercises for you.